All right, today we're going to do a little bit more of getting into Dreamweaver and understanding a little bit more specifically about file management. So when I open Dreamweaver, even here on the main screen, we can see our panels are open on the right. And if I click on the Files panel, right now, if I click this little minus button, I have set up a site for a company here called Blooms, and I've told it where to go and where everything is supposed to be saved. And if I expand it, you can see there's another folder inside where called Assets, where all of our images are saved at. And then I have some other pages here. So if I double click, I'll open a page. This is the index or home page for this company, a gardening company called Blooms and Bulbs. So we're going to be working on a couple of different sites. And we're not going to start with Blooms. You're actually going to be making this on your own later. What we're going to do today is learn and create one called Dreamweaver. Now we're going to create one called TripSmart. So I'm going to come back to the main screen, and on this main screen, go down to the option here called Site Setup. Now I could just open the pages that I'm using and save them to a folder, but it doesn't really, use all the features that this program lets us do. Now, we want to tell it, hey, if all the stuff for this particular site is going to be in this folder. So first, let's go ahead and actually go and make the folder. So I'm going here to my folder called Dreamweaver. Now what you'll need to do is go to your H drive, go to your advanced design folder, and then inside of Dreamweaver, hopefully you have a folder called Dreamweaver. If not, make one. And then we're going to create our new folder there. So I'm going to click on New Folder. Now for me, I'm actually just going to be doing this off of Documents, but you need to make sure you do it from your H drive. So once we're inside of Dreamweaver, I'm going to go ahead and make my new folder here. So once I click on New Folder, it pops open and then lets me name it. So we're going to name this TripSmart, which is a travel agency. And we're going to be helping create a website for this travel agency. Now that's one folder. Now I want to go into it and actually make another folder inside. Now all of the stuff for this website is going to be in this folder, but I'm going to make one more folder, and we're going to call that Assets. Assets are any formatting, or we're going to call them CSS, cascading style sheets that you can save, and then also pictures. That's where we're going to save our images. The pages just go inside of TripSmart, but the images would go inside of Assets. Now I've made two folders. Now I'm going to come back to Dreamweaver and actually tell Dreamweaver what we just did. So from the main screen, create new, and I'm going to click on Site Setup. It's going to ask me what is the site going to be named, so I'm going to name it TripSmart. And then it asks the local site folder. We call this sometimes the root folder. All that's asking is where are you going to be saving all the stuff for this company. So if I click on Browse, I'm going to go to where I saved that at and then click on TripSmart. Now I'm in TripSmart. I'm going to click on Select Folder, and that, if I click inside and go all the way over, should be TripSmart. So it's attached to the right option. I'm also going to go under Advanced Settings, and one of the first options here says Default Images. So where are all the pictures going to go to? So that's going to go to that Assets folder. So I'm going to do the same thing, TripSmart, double click on Assets, and then I'm going to choose Select Folder. Now I always just click inside, go all the way over, make sure that that last name is the name of the file where you want it to be at. But that's all we're going to do. So then I'm going to click on Save. And if you notice over here on the right, I've got my site. So TripSmart's open. Blooms disappeared, but it's still there. But I'm under TripSmart, and you can see there's my site, that's the folder, and then that's where the assets are going to go. So that's the first part of working with files, is actually just telling the computer where everything is going to go for that particular file. Now, once we're inside, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually import content into this site. So we're going to make some pages. What I've done is actually on your Google Drive, if you sign in with your school account, you're going to click on Shared with Me. And Shared with Me, you're going to find a folder called Advanced Design. Once you open Advanced Design, you're not going to see everything here, but you're going to see... Actually, that's the wrong folder here. Under Shared, we can see, there we go. So here are the different units. So we're inside of Dreamweaver. So if I double click, I see Chapter A, B, C, D. I'm going to be working in Chapter A today. So once I've selected it, I'm going to go up to this More feature, and I'm going to actually click on Download so that I download everything that's in Chapter A. Now that's going to zip that file, and then when it's actually starting to download, it's going to pop up down here on the screen and be named whatever. Now once that happens, I'm going to actually go to that folder. So if I click on it, it'll take me to that folder, and then that's under my downloads. Now the problem is this needs to be something in here, needs to be saved to that TripSmart folder and the assets folder that we had just created. So what I like to do is I'm going to go ahead and go into Chapter A. This is my downloads. This is all the stuff that's in there. So out of here, we're actually going to be using this file, DWA2. So what I can do is copy, and then I actually have another folder and if you click on your Windows icon and you just type in, it's called File Explorer, and if you click on that, it opens another folder for you. At least that's how mine is acting. And then I can go to where that's saved at. So I'm going to go into my TripSmart folder. And then the easiest way is honestly click and drag it into your folder. Now while we're here, we're also going to go into assets because there is an image that we need. So we are looking for TripSmart JPEG, and that's the one we want. So I'm going to this time drag and actually copy to assets. That's where we want it to be. Now while we're here, I'm actually going to go ahead and rename this page. So if I right click, and this is my folder, my TripSmart folder that you've created there, hopefully on your H drive. I'm going to right click and I'm going to do rename, and I'm going to name it index. Now index is what we're going to call it because it's the home page, and index just makes sense. That's the starting point. So that's all I'm going to do in this folder. I'm just going to minimize for now. And we're going to go back to Dreamweaver, and then if I click up here on refresh, bam, look, there's the page that we just copied. And if I click on the plus beside the assets, there's our TripSmart. So we just imported content into our site. Now if I double click on index, there's our page. It's so beautiful and really old, if you can see from the timestamp, but that's what we want it to be. So we've created and imported a page. The picture is the picture right here. Now if by chance it didn't show, if you click on that big X that shows up, go down to the bottom, your properties panel is going to pop up, and change the source and make sure that whatever it's supposed to be, it is. If you need to, you can click on Browse for File and then just locate that file. I double clicked on it and it's going to update that page. So there's our page. And if I go to code, oh, look at all that you didn't have to type in. So back to live view, that's our first page for this site. Now we're going to be building some other pages because it's not just one page that makes a website. So even though we imported one file, we're going to actually add some placeholders so that we have more pages. Now I'm going to go up and right click on site and choose the option here, new file. When I do that, it pops up with a new HTML document. Look, no notepad, no file save as. All we have to do is give it a name right here. So our first one is going to be accessories.html. I hit enter, there's our first page. Then we're going to repeat and do a couple more pages. So catalog, make sure you leave the .html on there, clothing, newsletter, oops, oh that's right, I thought I hit folder, services, and then our final page is going to be called tours. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 page website. We have one image right now, but we'll be adding stuff into those pages later. We have one page to start with, which is what we're going to learn for our next unit. So what you've done so far is you have defined a website, you have created a root and assets folder for your documents and pictures, then you've also defined your site so that you've connected those folders, and then you imported content to your site as well as added extra pages to actually build out your website. Look at that, you didn't even know that you did so much. So that's it for this lesson. What you're going to do now is, now that you've learned how to do the basics, you're going to redo that, except this time you're going to do it for blooms. So if you actually click on this down arrow, you're going to see some options that'll pop up, and you could actually click on manage sites from here and then do a new site and then click on, or well, you're going to name it blooms, but since I've already done that, I'm just going to flip over so that you can see what you're going to be working with. So for the blooms site, you're going to have a home page just like before. We've got the index. You're also going to create blank pages, blank placeholders for plants, that's tips, workshops. You do also need to add those folders into your H drive. Now, if we go back to TripSmart, one last thing here. Remember those pages that we made? So we made it here, but I want to actually flip back and go to my TripSmart folder. Oh, look at that. Everything is actually in the folder too. So it made the pages for us and saved them in the folder by doing it here through the website. All right, so you've learned about root folders, you've learned about setting up a site. Now you're going to do the same thing for blooms. Good luck.